Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I've been a little bit quiet for a while, but I'm going to go ahead and give you guys an update. Right now I am 3 weeks postpartum. This is Raistlin, and he is completely passed out. I am currently recovering from a C-section. Honestly, a lot of people told me C-sections were really bad, so it made me kind of unsure about them. But I didn't have any problems with a C-section at all. I bounced right back. I'm still having a little bit of pain here and there, but it's not even horrible. So I'm going to go ahead and go through what happened that led to the C-section. I'm going to start with the day before, and then we'll go from there. So a lot of things from my last video have taken place. Obviously, I had a few complications in my pregnancy. One was being hyperglycemic, so it meant my body took care of sugar way too fast. And then there is another one called polyhydramnios, which is where I have way too much fluid. So most people when they're pregnant have about 1 liter to a half a liter by the 3rd trimester. I had 3 liters, and also Raistlin's growth was restricted. And we couldn't figure out why. So they had me on a high protein diet during the whole 3rd trimester. We also had ultrasounds every single week because they considered me high risk. Sorry if you see me scratching, I'm just a little itchy. I'm allergic to animals, and I was playing with those animals. So all of this stuff started on July 10th. July 10th, we go in for my appointment, which was at 3:30. And this doctor usually takes a little bit, so he always tells us be prepared to wait or have about 3-hour block planned out for me. I'm like, okay, so I have a 3-hour block planned out. They ended up calling me back about 45 minutes into waiting, which honestly is pretty quick for his office. And they go ahead and do an ultrasound. So I'm sitting there, and they're checking his heartbeat, and his heart rate decelerates for just a minute. It wasn't even that long. It was maybe half a minute to a minute, and it's like still pumping. It's just a little bit slower. We didn't think anything of it. So the sonographer goes, and we finish up the ultrasound, we get the pictures and whatnot, and I'm sitting there, and they put me in a room. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm sitting there, and I have my mother-in-law with me, and so we're sitting there. On the way over, I made a joke, saying that because on his birthday is actually their wedding anniversary. So I made the joke that their wedding anniversary is still cooking. He comes in and he asks me straight up, I hope you have a name picked out. I'm like, I do. And it kind of clicked what they were going to say. I'm like, they were going to call my pregnancy. I'm like, you're going to call it. And he's like, I'm not calling it. If it was up to me, you would have another week. I'm like, okay. So Dr. Davis is calling it. Yes. She tells me to go ahead and head into the hospital at 4 a.m. With me, I have to work tomorrow. I had to work on his birthday, so 4/11. So I end up having to call my bosses, let them know, hey, I'm getting induced. I'm not going to be coming into work anymore. And find a cover for my shifts so they aren't short-handed, even though I'm very good at making sure that they are covered at my work. So we go when we come home, I start scrambling to get everything together because I had partial hospital bag, but not complete hospital bag. Like I had his outfit picked, I had his preemie outfit picked just in case, all of that, and sorry. There we go. Sorry, I didn't. And you guys fell to the floor. Oopsie. Sorry, I'm a little clumsy with a little one. Not with the little one itself, just with my phone. So we go in at 4 a.m. Me and my fiance, he tells his work, lets him know. We go in for a scheduled induction. So I'm sitting there. We go ahead, we check in, they put us into a labor delivery room right away, and they start my IV. They start by giving me a whole bag of fluids, and then they put me on Pitocin. And by this time, it's probably about 5 o'clock. So while we're waiting for that, me and my fiance decide to go ahead and take a nap. No big deal. When I went to the hospital, I was already 2 centimeters dilated and not really doing too much. And due to his size, which I'll get into a little bit later, he was not exactly pushing on the cervix. I mean, he was head down, but every time they would check me, they would bounce him off of it. So he really wasn't doing anything to it. So by the time my doctor actually got in for the day, because she was actually working the floor that day, she goes ahead and she has them check me. I'm not dilating, but I am having a little more contractions than what I was. And they go ahead and check his heart rate, and they notice that it decelerated more than once since they put me on Pitocin. So my OB goes ahead and she tells them to go ahead and cut it and that they're going to go ahead and do a C-section. Me, I had a snack at about 3 o'clock in the morning because I was hungry and knew I wasn't going to be eating much because I thought I was just having a normal induction. So we ended up I signed off to have a C-section because it was going to be safer for me and my son, because I didn't want to cause him any distress or anything like that, because of the fact he is already so tiny. So she tells me, okay, we're going to bring you into the OR at 12:30. I'm like, okay. So I go ahead and call my family, let them know. My fiance goes ahead and lets his family know. So they're about 12, sitting in the waiting room waiting to hear. So they go ahead and they call me back, and I get in there. They do the spinal tap, so I don't feel anything. My fiance is in the room getting ready, and they go ahead and move all our stuff over, which with me, I'm pretty good at packing, so it was like a bag. 2 bags at most, so it wasn't even bad. And so I'm sitting there, and they make the first cut. I didn't even notice. The anesthesiologist ended up telling me. And then they realized that my fiance wasn't there. So they go out and they grab him just in time for the little one, and they get him back, because my heart rate was a little raised. Well, obviously, because I'm really freaking nervous. I've never had surgery before. And they go ahead and they bring him in, and they get just in time for them to start slowly draining my amniotic fluid. Because if they would have done a fast one, like most, that it could have gotten my blood system and it could have caused a lot of issues. Because I had 3 liters of amniotic fluid. So I had almost 3 times as much as a normal pregnancy should have for a single. So they go ahead and pull him out. I hear him cry. Everything sounds good. They did tell me that he was going to end up in the NICU, which to me is fine. The NICU, they're amazing people at the hospital that I delivered at. They made sure that if I had any questions, I can call them anytime. They weren't worried. So we go ahead and they start putting him under the warmer, and that's when they notice that he's not breathing as well as he should. My fiance, on the other hand, went with them and started taking pictures of how long he was and the weight and all of that. So when I was coming back around from him being drowsy and going in and out, he could tell me. So my little one, Raistlin, weighed 4 pounds, 11.7 ounces, with a 33 centimeter head, and was about 18 inches long. And I was taken into recovery, not realizing anything, because my fiance ended up going and meeting back with me. So we can make sure I was okay, because we trusted those nurses. We picked the hospital for the reason, and their security was amazing. So he comes back to me. I'm kind of dozing in and out. I call my parents, let them know that I'm okay and everything's good. And he says that he's going to go step out, let his family know that what's going on with Raistlin. I'm like, that's fine. I'm right here. I'm not going to go anywhere, at least for 3 hours, because I want to make sure, because I was a hemorrhage risk, that I wasn't going to hemorrhage or a blood clot or anything like that was going to cause any type of pain. At this point, I'm on antibiotics and high doses of ibuprofen, which I was only on the ibuprofen throughout the whole recovery so far. It's just normal ibuprofen. And we're going through this. He comes back, and I just want to see my baby. I just want to see him. I don't care that I'm freshly sewn up. I don't care. I just want to go see him. And they didn't want me getting up yet. So I was about 3 to 4 hours later, they start putting me into postpartum. Oh, hi. They put me into postpartum, and he was born at 12:53 in the afternoon. I didn't get to see him till 9, because they closed down the NICU whenever there's a new admission over there, so they can have full focus on that child, which I understand and completely respect. So I'm sitting there, I'm waiting, and they have a catheter in me, and I'm still on the IVs. I just want off of all these. So I'm sitting there, I'm waiting. And they say, okay, so we're going to go ahead and move you over so you can go see your son. I'm like, thank God, because I just want to see him. I just wanted to see him. I didn't care. I just wanted to touch him if I wasn't even allowed to hold him. And he was on 2 IVs, the oximeter, heart monitors, the incubator, oxygen, and I fought with the hospital to get me a breast pump in my room, because I was not having him, when he was starting to eat, be unfortunate. I'm like, no, not my son. I was persistent, and so we just kept going. I just kept fighting, and eventually I won. So we go ahead and we get them done, and I get it. So they wheel me over, and he's in the incubator, and there's a blanket put on top of his incubator, and it had little anchors and islands and a whole bunch of other cute little sea things. And it was made for babies in the NICU. At the hospital that I gave birth at, if every child that enters the NICU gets a blanket and a hat. So with that, he was in there for 8 days, and I saw him every single day. Even when I was in really bad pain, I still got up and got to go see him. I know this video is a little long, but my delivery was a little rough, but I am grateful for every second with him. Because not everyone gets this. Not everyone gets their kid home after 8 days. Some kids don't make it home. So I'm grateful to all the nurses, the doctors that helped bring him into the world and took care of him and took care of me. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment below. If you guys want me to go a little more in depth on anything in the video, let me know. But it is almost 3 a.m. here, and I'm doing this video, so this is the only time I really get to film, and I'm going to try to upload more, just keeping you guys in the loop on what's going on with him. As of right now, after 2 pediatrician appointments, he is 5 pounds 4 ounces and doing amazing. Thank you guys for all your support. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks.